I didn't get a chance to look at the notes, but let me just normal. Got
Scan
it.
through
Got
them.
it.
Okay, welcome
Okay.
back. We are here for another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy. I'm Dr. Paula Ruffin.
I'm Dr. Erica Peabody, and we are rolling into the end of this year. Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh. Well, so this is actually our last show of the year, which I didn't realize. So now I'm like, oh, I think we're going to have to just add in a little bit of year-end wrap-up.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
because we got to do that, because I realized that next week is Christmas and then the next week is New Year's. So, and you're going to be gone. We're not really going to be in position to have our I'm doing
regular thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
our regular scheduled programming. So we're going to get into it today, and then we'll talk about wrapping up for the year and our plans for next year. But in the meantime, we wanted to end this year with talking about normalizing things and what that looks like, and try to give people the aha moment for 2026. And that if you've been experiencing certain things, saying certain things to yourself about your health, and then you're still not healthy,
Right.
we have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually just happened to me this morning. And I had a patient who actually is in the healthcare industry, like functional health industry. And she said, well, I've always had low blood pressure. Like it's low, like 80/50.
Oh.
And I said, that's too low. So we're starting this off. We want you all to start thinking about what are the things that go on in your health and in your life that you normalize. Just because you've always had something doesn't mean it's normal. It might be common for you, but it's not normal. And of course, having something that's too low or too little is just as, you should pay attention to that just as much as if it's too much or too high.
Yeah.
So that's really why we're here, is we want to help you understand the languaging and the things that you're saying, so that you can go, oh yeah, let's do something better for 2026.
Well, I've shared this story before, but I had a guy who is a financial planner in the area. He's been under care for probably 10 years now. But when he came in, he's like, I just have like normal headaches. I'm like, normal headaches? He had a headache for 20 years. Solid. He had 3 adjustments and he started to feel better. Now he's under care for life, which I love. But I'm like, let's not normalize it. And also, if you are somebody that's like that, also, let's not normalize taking painkillers in order to help with that too, because, oh, well, I just take an aspirin a day, or I just take a couple Tylenol in a day, or an Advil in a day. When new patients start with us, it's like, if they say they're taking an over-the-counter medication, I'm like, how often? And how often is rarely? And sometimes their rarely will be like a couple times a week. Like, I always ask for qualification of those kinds of things, because none of that's normal. And I love where 2025 has taken us in our health and the awareness around it. And I'm really excited, not only for this topic, but also what it's going to bring us for the year ahead, because people are really starting to question those things.
Yes. And we're so glad, because what's happening with our food, what's happening in our healthcare, we're starting to finally get the information, the real information that people like Dr. Erica and myself and our colleagues have been shouting from the rooftops for years. Right. With regards to what is true health. What does it really mean? And the problem is that our voices have been stuffed down and overshadowed and overpowered by these mainstream narratives that people still want to believe. And even if they don't really want to believe them, they create fear in people if you attempt to move away from them. This feels comfortable over here. I've learned how to live with it and manage it. I don't really know how I'm going to live with or manage if I move away from the thing that I've figured out how to regulate in my life. Doesn't mean it's healthy, but when you figure something out and you feel safe and comfortable in that, it's going to take a minute to start to peel back the layers. And so that's where we want to really try to get you to understand your languaging and the things that maybe could help you kind of go, oh, yeah. I can do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. The one comment down from that one is just making me laugh. We're not going to approach that topic. That's for a different day. Thanks for being here, though, Ryan.
Oh my God.
Curious to see what else you would have to say.
Yeah.
We're gonna just skip through that for the time being. We can talk about it in 2026. But yeah, there's so many things, and I have this list of that one patient who's 70 some years old and has that long list of medications, and it's like because of this and this and this and this and this and this. So interesting. Then you got to take this for this and this for this. So anyway, then you're on all these medications instead of actually finding true health, which is truly in our office.
Yeah.
Or one place. And the greatest part about it is that we're seeing more and more and more people having these aha moments of like really where health comes from, and that they don't really know that this is where they want to be until they get here. And then they say to us all the time, I should have been there 10 years ago. I wish I was here back in my early, whatever ages, the early part of, their teenage years, or even younger than that, when all these things were starting. So yeah, normalizing low back pain, normalizing headaches, normalizing, what's the one that you were talking about? You have that one patient that's been, that kind of stemmed this conversation, because I know you have a story behind it.
Yeah. So I have a patient who has and she's relatively young. She's in her like 50s, and she has a genetic blood clotting disorder. And she comes in, and structurally she's off structurally. And of course, as chiropractors, when we're dealing with the nervous system and we are realigning the nervous system, I see a complete dramatic shift. So she comes in like this, she leaves like this. Mm-hmm. She comes in with a short leg, she leaves balanced. And when we move the nervous system into the right position, it will start to balance out. Mm-hmm. And so she came in, and she'd been coming in every 2 weeks. And this time she came in and she was really off kilter. And this is a busy time of year for her. And I said, how long has it been? She said, oh, this one was 3 weeks. And I said, I think we overshot the mark. Mm-hmm. And so the way that Dr. Eric and I always explain it is that chiropractic should meet or exceed your stress, your physical, chemical, and emotional stress threshold in order for you to get the best possible optimized health and healing, and not have the stress threshold be over and above your body's healing capacity, because stress alone then starts to take over and create the chronic issue and can cause all those detrimental symptoms: gut health, brain health, stress, anxiety, poor sleep, brain fog. We could just keep going down the list. So I was just re-explaining this to her, as I've done multiple times. We know it's a constant education because of the narrative that you go out there and you just get bombarded with it. Mm-hmm. And I took a picture of her and I showed it to her, and she goes, oh God, I can see it. And I said, right. And I said, and she's going on vacation. And I said, when you get back, I said, I think we just need to bump it back to every 2 weeks. I think that's really your sweet spot. And she said, okay, well, we'll see. And I was like, what did I miss there? And I didn't ask the follow-up question of, what does that mean? What do you mean by that? Which I should have. But this is where was the light bulb for me, was like, why aren't people getting it? And again, like, she's been here for months and she's on her wellness plan, and I took the picture and she could see it and she can feel it. And she has this blood clotting genetic disorder that she can see. Like, her left leg is always more swollen than her right. She has chafing on her skin because it's always swollen. Mm-hmm. But because she's had that her whole life, Well, I've had her whole life. She's had blood clots. Like, but she's normalized it. It's her normal. Mm-hmm. Does not mean it's common, but it doesn't mean it's normal.
Right.
So that's what spurred this on. It's like, boy, even in the face of having something more, I would call that catastrophic. Those are like kind of life-threatening diseases, but those have come about for many years for so many people.
Yeah, I mean, we all, as we go through in our days, not everybody's even realizing what they're doing when they're saying some of those things. Like, I've just had this all along. I've just had this all along. And I had a patient in, she's been under care probably like 4 or 5 weeks, but she's been in fight or flight, actually diagnosed in sympathetic overdrive for 6 years. She's also moved every 2 years. She's moved to a different spot. And she said, I just don't understand why, when I first started with this situation that I have going on that's now been chronic for 6 years, why wasn't I first sent to see a chiropractor? She said, this is the very first time that I've had hope for getting through this. Her body has been in such fight or flight that her diaphragm doesn't even really open up at this point. And so we've been working and working and working. She's been in a couple times a week, and she's like, you can see the light coming back. And I said, I just wish, I actually went back to the case in the early 80s when the chiropractor sued the American Medical Association for trying to put the kibosh on our profession, and we won. But you just don't hear about that because there's not, the money is in trying to continue to treat symptoms. It's not really in health. And so I said, everybody that comes in, it's like 80 to 90% of the people that come into the practice for the first time, they always say, I wish I would have known this first. I wish I would have taken this conservative method prior. I wish I would have, and even though the other woman I've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, she's had so much pelvic pain, and that her MD's plan was to sever the pudendal nerve, which is also the nerve. And now she's like living a normal life with no pain after hers was like 4 visits. And now she's got a lot more work to do. But when you're starting to get relief in just that short amount of time, imagine what we can do with health going forward and moving into weeks of care, months of care, and years of care. And that should just be part of everybody's regular healthcare regime. So,
Well,
yeah.
can you enlighten people? So I don't want to move past that too quickly. You had this patient with this pelvic pain, had gone through the medical realm of things, knew it wasn't normal. And this is so common. And this is also why people walk around normalizing their symptoms, is because mainstream medicine says, don't go to the chiropractor. They're going to kill you. And then they're like, how's the chiropractor going to help you? That's ridiculous. So we get, demonized for the work that we do in enhancing the body's ability to heal. But the problem is, so then they spend all these years going, well, they can't help me, but they tell me not to go to these people, so I'm not gonna, until finally they've had enough of these people telling them, well, you're fine, but we can't help you even though you feel bad. So this woman with the pelvic pain and cutting the pudendal nerve, like, do you want to just enlighten people what that actually means?
So
like,
I know
tell people what the pudendal nerve is responsible for.
Well, so if we back up and we talk about the spine and the nervous system, so the brain is communicating with the body through our information superhighway, as we call it all the time, the spinal cord, which is then protected by the vertebra. So the spine that And a lot of people would think, oh, chiropractors work on the spine, we're working on bones, but we're not. We are, but it's accessing the spinal nerves. So the nerves not only do sensation, but they do function. The same nerve will have both roles. It'll have the role of function, but it will also have the role of sensation. So the sensation is the symptom that she is feeling. She's got this unexplained, relentless pelvic pain. And she's gone through, pain medication. They tried to inject her with a steroid. And I don't know where they were planning that steroid to go, because pelvic pain is very large, right? And it was like deep pain. And so that does that sensation. But the pudendal nerve is also responsible for voluntary letdown of the bladder and voluntary control of the bowels. So as you were to sever the pudendal nerve to help with the sensation. Now, this woman is maybe early 60s. She's not old. And So then, like, what's her next 10 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? And then I come in and teach her a little bit about how the spine is regulating a information superhighway, is controlling, coordinating everything we're doing. We can't just cut the sensory for the pudendal nerve. We can't do that. You can't cauterize a nerve like that and expect it to not then be in diapers. I'm sorry. I'm just
Mhm.
going to go there. Like,
Yeah.
that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
So now what? Her family is going to help her for what? The rest of her life? I need to look up her age actually, because I can't even, I think she's actually in this afternoon.
And I also want to add sensation in the pelvis. This is also orgasm.
Yeah.
So you are taking a woman who is still in a very amazing time of her life, and I don't know what her sexual history is, but women in menopause already have issues with orgasm and with sexual health. And so when you cut that nerve, you are just putting fuel on the freaking fire. Like what? And of course, menopausal women also tend to have more issues with incontinence anyway. So the pelvic floor is already weak. So
Right.
do you think absolutely now? Yes, diapers, because she's not going to recognize. She's
Right.
not going to recognize the incontinence. She's going to constantly be leaking. And then, of
Right.
course, shitting her pants, maybe, I don't know, and
Right.
never being able to have an orgasm again. Like, what? But they don't tell her that.
Right.
That's
Oh, no.
not, no.
No, and she's desperate. She was in so much pain. Her pain scale was up near, on a scale 1 to 10, was up at like 8 or 9. Like, you can't live like that. So she's 61 years old and she's had 13 visits, but only after 3 visits, she already had like all pain relief. And I'm not doing anything except for addressing the spine and the nervous system. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing ever. And then I'm, talking to her about, supplementation and different things like that. But when you're in that much pain since February of this year, so that's, 10 months, I guess, at this point, at the point when she came in, that's like, you can't live like that. You can't take that, multiply it by 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, you can't live at that level of pain. But when we're using very conservative movements, very conservative treatments in order to get her back, it's astounding. And I get it. Like, she didn't know where else to go. And I'm not even exactly sure how she found us, but I certainly am glad that she did. The same one, that patient that was just in. I also have had a woman, I think today was her 5th visit, and she is diagnosed at 48 with MS, but it's not really a true MS. There's so much misalignment at the top of the cervical spine that it's interfering with her entire body. Now she's able to get on her tiptoes. She's able to walk around in her home without her cane. She's able to, like, I can get her body to move. And so it's just, it should be chiropractic first. And it should be across the board chiropractic first, because if they're not chiropractic patients for us, we know where to send them. We will then refer out to the GP or the orthopedist or whatever needs to go, but conservative measures first and always first.
Yeah. And I think also in procedures like that, any procedure. So I have a patient who she had I don't remember what it's called, but they put the scope down your throat and they stretch the esophagus because she's had years of reflux and she's been on acid blockers. Oh, and she's always had gut issues. Oh, and now she has Parkinson's. Like, there's no coincidence to how things have been laid out. And so we want you guys to be able to look at that and say, gosh, I don't want to take another step towards chronic health and chronic disease. If I'm experiencing this thing now, if I have to have a tube stuck down my throat to stretch my esophagus, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. And the other issue with procedures like that, now, okay, you have the tube stuffed down the throat to stretch. It's kind of like also having sinus dilation. You have the balloons put up here to stretch
Mhm.
You guys, these are inflamed. That's why they're closed down. Now you might have a deviated septum, but guess what? Chiropractors can adjust deviated septums. Okay, so that's kind of cool. But let's just say you don't have a deviated septum. They're inflamed tissues. That's why you can't breathe in your sinuses. It's not because you need a balloon to go up there and stretch everything out. You need to figure out why your body's so inflamed. So these mainstream interventions have become ridiculous, but people don't know where else to turn. They think that's the only option, which again, I'm going to ask each and every person to take this episode and please share it, and then share it again,
Right.
because people need to know that the messaging isn't okay. And like going back to your pelvic patient, I'm certain, if she were to ask the question, what happens if this doesn't work? They're not going to say, or like, what's the likelihood that it won't work? What happens if it doesn't? What's my long-term plan if this
Mhm.
doesn't work? Are
Right.
they
There's no
gonna tell her
reattaching.
that she's going to need diapers? Are they going to tell her that? They're not
Well,
going to.
yeah, and there's no way to undo it. So,
Right. Can't
there's
take
no
it
way.
back.
Yeah, you can't take back that particular procedure. I'm just so grateful that she found us and she found, and it's not me, guys, it's chiropractic just in general. Like, I'm so grateful that we made it a safe place for her to land, that she likes our office, that, I want to create an atmosphere where people feel really comfortable to come in and feel very fulfilled when they leave. Like they were listened to, they were assessed, and everything was figured out and helped. But then it's a process. It's such a process. But if you guys are on here, like Dr. Paula said, share as much as you can, but also if you're sitting quietly there and you have questions, just know that both of us are as approachable as we seem. We really are. Like, we really are here. We are doing this podcast so that we can reach way beyond our four walls and be able to help as many people as we can. And at least if you're not in our area, we understand that. We can probably find somebody, one of our colleagues. We're connected with, on social media with our colleagues all over the globe. We probably have somebody who knows somebody in your area that would be good to go to. But I do want you to always be considering chiropractic first, because the more conservative we can be with our body. I had this patient in, and I love her. I love her, love her, love her. And I love all of her questions, but she's very much like cause and effect thinking. And she actually brought this to me today. She's like, because of this cause, this is the effect. Because of this, because of this. I looked at her and I said, an egg and a sperm came together and made me. Made me. Not one human being on the planet would be able to do what an egg and sperm and the innate intelligence. As Dr. Paula, we've talked in the last weeks, above, down, inside out, and this thing came together and this was created. How much of this do we actually know about? I'm not even sure we could put a percentage on it, but it's low. So the only thing that we ever do as chiropractors, we're not going to toss in a whole bunch of chemistry and try to get you back on the charts that say you're now in normal blood pressure, you're now in normal cholesterol, you're now don't have any pain. An egg and sperm created this. All we're doing is taking that innate intelligence that built this beautiful thing and letting it work better. I don't know. What would you say? We know 20%. We know that a computer couldn't do what our bodies do.
No.
It couldn't do it.
No
Elon
way.
Musk is probably out there trying to figure it out. I'm sure he is. He'll probably be somebody that's close to figuring out. But the chemistry, the cascades of events, the tissues, the organs, like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And MDs don't know, and the medical world doesn't know. But what we're doing is making sure that came together and created this. That intelligence didn't leave us once we were born. It's still there. How can we maximize that?
And that's our above. That's our above.
Yeah.
The divine intelligence came down. These two cells came together and formed us. And look how different we are. But we're both perfect.
Right.
You are all perfect. We're all different, and yet we're all perfect. I mean, it's the most amazing thing on the planet. And so what do we know? We may not be able to explain the chemistry, and I forgot more chemistry than I learned, but but it doesn't matter
No.
because we're skilled at helping your body to optimize what it needs. And we do always say we expect miracles, and yet we're always blown away on a daily basis by what gets expressed out of our offices when people are like, you know, they tell us things that we're just like, oh my God, of course I expected that, but wow, that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. And so, you know, we think about even just so we're talking about like these are pretty serious cases, but what if you're somebody who says, headaches run in my family? Headaches don't run, headaches are not genetic.
Right.
I've always had digestive issues. It's not normal. I've never been a good sleeper. That's not normal. I've always had anxiety. That's not normal. I've always had sinus issues. I've always had eczema. Oh, this is my favorite. When people come in and they have the bumps on the back of their arms, and I go, "You're allergic to dairy." And they're like, "I am? How do you know?" "These bumps on my arms, I've always had them." "Yes, it's a sign you're allergic to dairy." And they're like, "Oh, I just thought they were just there." And yet then you start digging and they have all of these other things. So you guys, these are like the little smoldering fires. They're just tiny little smolders that your body is trying to tell you something. So don't ignore, just because you have bumps on the back of your arms, ask, why do I have bumps on the back of my arms and nobody else does? Why do I get eczema? Why do I have these flares of psoriasis? Sometimes they're good and sometimes they're bad. Like, start asking yourself, what do I need to do to actually reverse this and not manage it with medication?
Right.
And thyroid's my favorite because most people are like, oh no, my thyroid's fine because I manage it with medication. And then the people that are walking around who've had their thyroids taken out, you guys, we can't live without our thyroid. It's our master gland for everything. And so start asking the questions. Why did I get this bad? How did I get to a point where somebody's telling me I have to have this major organ taken out?
Well, and that's what I love about that particular patient is that she, although I've told her many of the things over the last year, she's now coming to me with her conclusions, which are the things that I've told her for months. And that's just what it takes because this particular patient has asked incredible questions to incredible practitioners, has toured a lot of different angles to lead to her health. And she's now taking the answers that she's found and now she owns them. And that's the greatest success in health that we as chiropractors could ever, 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 ever ask for. It doesn't matter how many times that I had said that, but now she came to me. She's like, I'm like more of a cause and effect. Your car is okay to work cause and effect. Your car has gears and it doesn't have the innate intelligence that the body has. Your home, same thing. It doesn't have this beautiful innate intelligence. We need those warning lights. We need to get things looked at, but they have gears that fit together. Our body isn't like that. We can't say this one thing is doing this one thing. This one problem is this one solution. It doesn't work like that. Maybe it did before we had these levels and layers of physical, chemical, emotional, technological stresses that we have now, constantly bombarding. We're not a machine. We are this brilliant thing. And that's what I love so much about what we do. I mean, our offices are busy and they're busier because of the holidays. And people say, well, do you ever have a slow time? No, because then the new year comes around. They're like, oh my God, I made such a mess of my body. I'm ready to get back on track. You know, it's just like, it's constant ongoing, but we're not a machine. We're not supposed to be ever tended to like a machine. We're just supposed to allow the light from the inside to shine brighter. And we've talked a little bit about that, like the light in here in my room. Like I can't take the darkness out of here and like pull it and throw it out. I got to like keep turning the light on in my room. Same thing with the body. So,
well, and I think there's one more procedure that I want to just use as an example. And then we don't want to leave you guys with a bunch of doom and gloom. We'll talk about what can you do for 26 so we can have an aha moment. But another huge, very popular medical procedure is called an ablation. And we have so many women that are dealing with irregular, painful, heavy menstrual cycles. And so the medical system, now that is a liver, it is a gut issue, and it can be helped and corrected through a good functional medicine doctor, through corrective care with your understanding how your liver works, your genetic pathways, and healing your gut. Okay, so let's just say that, like, that's, and it's simple: food, certain supplementation, filling the bucket of nutritional deficiencies. Easy peasy. But the medical path for that is, let's cauterize your uterus. What does that mean? We're going to burn it. We're going to burn it so it stops bleeding. Here's what they don't tell you. If a woman gets an ablation, has her uterus burned, and then there's any suspicion that she might have some irregular cells, something else is going on in her reproductive system, they can't scrape the cells. They have to do a hysterectomy. If it's something even minor, there's no way to test the cells. They have to do a hysterectomy. That's the next step. If you continue to have issues, we have to take it out. And that's not an answer. And I guarantee you, women going into that procedure are not given that level of information to be able to make a decision that is in their best interest. So, these are, you guys have to ask better questions when you go in to get these things, and ask the first question: how did I get here to begin with? And what do I do to unwind it?
Right. And ask the right people the right questions too. That's the other part that I'm like, I praise my patients all the time. I'm like, you're asking such great questions. And then you have to be asking the right questions to the right people. Like, I had dog issues over the last month, and I was asking my regular vet for what would they do. And then I sought answers that I would seek for myself from a practitioner that I would seek for myself. And I finally got some really good supportive answers that don't have to do with cutting on my dog, that don't, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same, but I was like, I don't know the resources to ask these questions. So again, why we're here all the time. And this podcast has sparked me. So in the new year, it's going to be I think it's the second Thursday of every month. We're going to start doing a coffee talk where people can come in and sit down we have a holistic wellness nurse in the building and myself, and be able to just sit around and have coffee and talk about these bigger things. Like, what issues have you wanted to just sit and have coffee with your doc and talk about? What issues have you wanted to sit with a well-educated, very well-rounded wellness nurse and talk about? And I'm really excited to kind of take this and then take it to the real, in real life as well. So, yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and springboard everybody into next year. So we bring this up to you to create awareness that when you're having chronic anything, as mild as it is, please don't dismiss it. Ask yourself, what is my body trying to tell me? And that should then start to lead you in a different direction. Now, Dr. Eric and I have positioned ourselves. We are your portal, because you may not get the right answers out there. You may not get the right answers from traditional and mainstream medicine. But if you seek out the right path with the right people, you will get the right answers that will serve your health, that aren't ridiculous, like cutting vital nerves to your pelvis or burning organs that don't need to be burned. So, so start evaluating things we talk about every week: your sleep, your mindset, your gut health, your just your attitude, are you regulating each and every day? Do you have brain fog? Are you sleepy during the day? There's just a multitude of things that are going to be unique to you that are not normal. And just because you've had them your whole life, don't tell yourself they're normal.
Right. No, it's
And if
great.
you're taking, to what Dr. Erica said in the beginning, if you're taking any medication on a weekly, once a week, that's it, twice a month, it's too much. It's too much. And if you're taking Advil because you're afraid of getting sore when you go out to golf, you also have a problem. So it's okay. Get sore.
Just keep questioning, and we'll keep filling in some of the gaps as well. So, you know, we wish, so as we talked about last week, and Dr. Paula reiterated earlier this week and on your Sunday Night Live, like, not everything in moderation, right? That was, we are not poisoning our bodies through the holidays in moderation. We're not eating a whole bunch of sugar in moderation. Like, we're not doing that. And we're really looking forward to kind of taking that and figuring out how we can springboard into 2026 by doing the right things regularly and creating habits, and not just going to the gym for the first, what is it, 14 days? Or what's the New Year's resolution failure
It used to
time?
be 21, but I think it's even shorter than that now.
Yeah.
It's like,
So let's
most people fail.
look now to figure out how you can get through the holidays really well, and then, you know, springboard into be not starting at the starting line, be running with momentum already and cross the January 1st time frame instead of waiting for January 1st to make those choices and changes. So a little bit at a time.
Yeah,
Make it digestible.
But a little bit of the good stuff, not moderation. We're not moderating sugar. We're not moderating alcohol. Listen, you got to be really good on your game before that moderation is the key to have that actually work for you. It's because it's just been an excuse at this point. You know, we are one of the sickest nations in the world, and if moderation worked, we wouldn't be. So I think it just becomes a.
Lily says she's waiting on the book for the two of us that we're going to collaborate on.
You know what? Maybe I think we got to put that on our 2026 goals.
Really, I know.
It's a great idea, Lily. Never even thought about that. Okay, it's game on.
I know.
Game
on.
Don't
have to tell us twice.
That's right.
Don't have to threaten us with a good time.
So just to recap, you guys are going to hear. You're gonna keep hearing us. We have crossed the 2-year anniversary of this show, and we're just super grateful that you show up for us each and every week, that you want to hear what we have to say. We hope that the things that we're bringing you are things that you actually want to hear as much as we feel it's necessary for people to hear. So thank you for that. And always let us know if there's anything that you would like us to cover. We are here to serve you.
I love this. Ghetto Hippie says the right questions get you halfway to the right answers. I really love that.
Yeah.
It's really, really true. So
and just keep asking.
Yeah. So
yeah, keep asking. Thank you.
Happy holidays.
All right, you all.
Will be shenaniganing again tomorrow. So
I'm sure you'll see pictures of us if you're following us over on Instagram, Facebook, and maybe we'll do a quick video here and post it on YouTube. We could totally do that. Dr. Eric and I, just real quick, we love to start our days. This is why we say live 90% of your life in the good way so that you can indulge. Our day tomorrow is going to start with an espresso martini. So we're not messing around. So yes, Ghetto Hippie, moderation of cumulative poisons is a path to failure, 100%. So, all right. You all have a safe and happy holiday. Have an incredible new year. We'll see you after the new year. We cannot wait to bring you more of us in next year in Chiropractic is Sexy. So
you're welcome ahead of time.
Welcome. That's right. You've just signed up for us for another year.
All right, peace.
All right. See you guys.